if we celebrate like what's at the heart of motherhood, it's the love of a mother. It's the love of it's the love that God has placed in the heart of a woman, the way that they can care in such a different way than a man can for a child. And that's why we don't just celebrate one kind of motherhood when there's all different kinds of ways that, you can make a difference in the life of a child by giving them and showing them the love that you have in your heart. So
all right, we're on episode 35, and Nate's laughing at me already. And today we're talking about honoring all moms and mother figures, which is kind of crazy. We actually had someone that was going to come on the podcast today that just didn't work out. So here we are.
I was
making
laughing
it happen.
Before we start every time,
Yeah?
you take the deepest breath.
That's true.
As if you're getting ready to take in enough breath to talk for the next 40 minutes.
Well, I'm just getting prepared
You're just
mentally.
getting prepared. That's
Yeah,
good.
it's a little bit on that, but
yeah, happy early Mother's Day.
I know. I mean, Mother's Day is a little bit different now. Both of us lost our moms, so it's kind of like you honor. I honor Lindsay, my wife, and my mother-in-law.
Sure.
But it's different because your mom's not there, so it's kind of like, if you think about it, if you let yourself think too much, even though yours, mom, it's been many, many years, you can get sad on Mother's Day. So we want to celebrate them, but it's a hard day. It's a hard day for people, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things, Nate, is that, on Mother's Day, it's not just about moms. It's really honoring all the mother figures that have been in our life, and there's some certain ladies, I'm sure for you too, that just popped in your life that are significant, that weren't your mom, but they played that role. And I even look at right now, I don't have a mom because she passed, and sad, you know what I mean? Especially how she died. But a lady in our church named Annie, Annie Culver, has seemed like almost call her my church mom. There's another lady named Donna that I call her Mama Donna. There's certain people that have stood in those moments. And then I was thinking it from this standpoint, that there's also been ladies that have never had a kid, but they were a mom to me. Miss Thumb was a spiritual leader that was in my dad's church a long, long time ago. Yeah. And she just spiritually was a mother figure that I looked up to. Never had a kid, but loved me like I was her kid, and then I think of Miss Lucy in the nursery, so I believe she has kids. Am I correct?
She does, yeah.
But but she's a mom to many through the years.
Yeah.
How many years? I don't even know how many years. 27 years?
Oh, she's been been in that nursery for probably close to 40.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, probably since this church has been on this corner. Yeah. She's been the head of that nursery.
So think about the impact that she had as a mother figure in those babies, and even the young moms that are bringing the babies in. Yeah. The interactions, or Jean Ennis in our church. She's a blessing, man. Yeah. I call her almost like a living saint, and she might say, well, hey, I didn't get married and have kids. And I'm like, no, dude, the impact that you've made, watching her mentor people, watching her, I think she's met with both of our kids with tutoring before. Yeah. She's at your house.
She's had a huge impact.
So what I'm saying and all that is, mothers are coming in many different forms.
It's not just a biological thing. I mean, motherhood, and that's what I think we always need to do our best to remember as we honor and as we celebrate Mother's Day, the second Sunday of every May, is just to remind women of the motherly role that they can play, even if they didn't have their own children. Yeah. The impact that they can make spiritually on other people's children, on, even young adult women, teenage women. It is, but it's a difficult day because of grief. Yeah. Maybe because of things like infertility. Yeah. All different kinds of reasons. So,
I was thinking though, the mom for you is Sue, though. Sue's been a mom to you. She stepped in. I was thinking even the last time, I think it was episode 21, where you talked about your mom, and, and we went into kind of a detail about your mom. Yeah. But I was thinking about, even as you talked about Sue, I remember during that episode you got choked up because she's kind of been someone that stepped in like that, you know. So God provides. It could be your mother-in-law, it could be someone in your church, it could be a neighbor that comes in and they fill some of those roles that you've been missing, and you know.
Yeah, very fortunate in that way, and I'm sure I'll probably talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. You did have some like little fun facts down.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not just breeze right past
Why don't you
those.
read that part, Nate? You got that.
Well,
man.
we know that Mother's Day comes around the second Sunday of May every single year. Not to be confused with any other Sunday.
That's right.
But that Sunday, and it's been a holiday. Do you know? I mean, don't look at your notes.
All right.
I'm testing you. When did it become an official holiday?
Dude, I don't know.
Just give me the year. Take a guess.
I'm gonna look at my notes, Nate.
Don't look at your notes.
It's gotta be like.
You typed up these notes.
No, I AI'd this section. I'm gonna be honest with the audience.
That's fine. We'll take a wild guess. How long do you think it's been around?
I think it's like 1960s or something, or is that longer?
Wrong.
Okay.
1914.
Okay, wow.
Okay, in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson is the one who really established it as an actual holiday in the U.S. And the woman, I don't know if you know this or not, but Anna Jarvis was the woman who actually kind of created the idea of celebrating her mother. And once it became so commercialized, she actually started to really wish that she wouldn't have created Mother's Day.
Really?
Like the idea of it.
No, I did not read that.
I mean,
section.
originally, she would have never imagined how just like over the top it would have become, and really like in some ways like a Hallmark kind of holiday. Like she had a good intention, a good heart for why she wanted to start it, but once it became just like a money grab for a lot of different like businesses and everything, all of a sudden she wishes she wouldn't have done it. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But did you know this? It wasn't actually until 1966, okay, that Lyndon B. Johnson established Father's Day. So between 1914, when President Woodrow Wilson established Mother's Day, it wasn't actually till 1966.
Yeah.
That Father's Day became an official day.
Do you think that the president's looking? He's like, "This isn't fair. I got to have a Father's Day." What do you think happened? Do you think that's what happened?
Yeah, I mean, how can you have a Mother's Day without a Father's Day?
I know.
But in saying that, of course, Mother's Day is way more important.
We do celebrate mothers way more than guys, and I think we should to a certain extent.
To speak on that,
yeah. Oh,
I don't know if you know this.
You did some more research, Nate.
I did. I'm not just coming up here just with the notes that you gave me. I don't know if you know this or not, but roughly $34 billion is spent on mothers for Mother's Day.
All right. How about the guys?
Did you know that?
You got the guys?
The guys, yeah, of course I do. About $10 billion less than what is spent on Mother's Day.
I actually thought it would be even more of a gap, actually.
Yeah, no, they say about this year there's going to be about $38 billion spent on Mother's Day, they're projecting.
So maybe the lady that invented it is basically, you understand why she would have been bothered at it, So.
Yeah, and so they say about every average spender, like the average person spends about $254 on their mother. And then they say on Father's Day, it's about $196 for fathers.
Wow.
Do you feel cheated or no?
We get the shaft, bro. It is kind of true, though. We go after it with Lindsay on Mother's Day, like the kids. And then, hey, Dad, love you. Here's a chocolate.
Yeah. No, but it's funny too. Just like when they talk about like the participation rates of like the percentages of people, they say about 88% of people celebrate Mother's Day, while about 75% of people celebrate Father's Day.
It could be too that like maybe, you look at
you're going to get all serious.
No, I actually am. But it could be that, moms, they've stood in the gap when sometimes dads aren't
100%.
there. You know what I mean? The moms, it's like when you look back, my dad wasn't there, but my mom was. And you hear more stories about moms stepping in the gap than you do with dads. And,
and you're not, I just want to make clear, you're not saying that about your dad.
No.
Yeah. People know.
Yeah, my dad's great.
Oh, yeah.
He's phenomenal. But what I am saying is, it's true. It's true. The moms are absolutely amazing. And I think there's something in them that's that nurturing way that just like, they know what to do. Like, I remember when I would fall down, I'm not going to my dad, I'm going over to my mom, and my mom knew better way of saying things than my dad did.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I went to my dad more. So it's like, it changes, but
Yeah.
so I put down something here that I found it interesting, Nate, that says why Mother's Day is hard. And I thought these were really good, actually. So one of them was just the grief and loss that people go through. So it put down here, for those who have lost their mothers, the day can be a profound reminder of their absence, the feelings of grief. The pain is not lessened if the relationship was difficult. The loss of a complicated mother can bring unique mix of relief, sorrow, and unresolved anger. So it is interesting. Like I'll be with people and they'll won't want to come to church on Mother's Day. And I'll go, why?
Yeah.
I'll go, why don't you want to go? And he goes, my mom's not there. So it just reminds me that she's not there. I just don't want to go. And then as you talk about moms, my mom's not there and people are celebrating their moms. And I might even say to them, like, well, you can celebrate your mom, but he goes, it doesn't matter. She's not there. I can't, it's too hard for me. So I don't come. So though we have a great attendance on Mother's Day, there's a lot of people that are choosing not to come.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget. So my mom, she actually passed away April 22nd, 1999. As I was getting ready to finish high school. So you just think about how close like April 22nd is to whatever, Mother's Day would have been that year, the second Sunday of May. And those two things like falling so closely in line. I mean, I can remember like the first Mother's Day was really tough. I mean, it just was. Like,
were you with your brothers then? Were you all together on that day? Or?
I mean, we would have been together, whoever was, around, whoever, maybe my sister had moved away. I think my older brother was probably in college at that time, but, but you just think about like how deep, like the loss, like the absence of like a mother's presence, like on that day, like the way that would feel so like quickly after, her death. And so it is real, but I mean, over time, it's been one of those things where you have a choice, like, you can grieve that like she's no longer here, or you can celebrate the gift that she really was, like, while she was. And I mean, I only had my mom for 18 years, and gosh, crazy, dude, man. I just like, you just take it for granted, man. I was thinking about it, just kind of preparing my mind for this today. The thought of like I didn't even know how like good she was, or like how dynamic she was, not like in how loud or like how like big her personality was, but just like the gift that she was until she was like gone. I feel like I was like too young at that time, like too involved in school or sports or whatever to really appreciate like how significant, like what a woman of God she was, her patience, her grace, her compassion, like all those kinds of things. So, it's probably the older I get, the more love, the more respect, the more admiration, the more I want to honor her life because of the way that she lived it. But yeah, this grief and loss is significant for people.
There's a guy in our church named Bill Graper. Bill said when my mom lost, he says, you will think back and you will appreciate your mom and love her more even after her death. And I was when he said that to me, I was like, I don't really get that. But then I started like, it's true. Like I think about her differently. I see the things that I appreciated about her that I didn't see, that sometimes I thought that she was kind of like, maybe like frustrated about things, but I actually realized how she never complained. She was always there to support Dad and I, and like she was selfless, and but people they struggle during this day with that grief and loss. Another one we put down was if they had a difficult relationship with their mom, and I because I've had a good, in a relationship, you always have problems that you got to work through. I'm not saying everything with my mom was great, but I had a great mother, So like, it was easy to celebrate her, but what would it have been like if I would have had a bad relationship with my mom and I didn't want to see her because she's hurt me so bad, that exists with people, I remember talking to one one lady who just basically said that my mom hit me. You know what I mean? I have not one good memory about her. So Mother's Day is not a something that I'm excited about at all. But you do see this.
Yeah. I mean, it can bring up all different kinds of emotions. You know, it can be trauma. It can be reminders, unfortunately, of abuse. Just the things that you should have done or wish you would have done. Those are all real things on a day when, the world chooses to celebrate and honor mothers. And yet if there's a strained relationship you have with your mom, or maybe she's gone, like it's all the things that you wish you would have done or wish you could have done, or the phone calls you should have made that you didn't. So another reason why it can be a difficult day.
It's a little bit random to say this, and I'm kind of going off of it a little bit, but I also would also say in this one too that there's always a chance to make things right with your mom, or there's always when the ability is there to go to at least be at peace. Maybe it's not the best friendship, it's not as close as you ever wanted it, but God can still work even in these difficult relationships. With either the mom or the daughter or the son stepping in and saying, hey, we have to change this, you know? So I do pray that some things like that happen in it as well. So.
And that's kind of one of those things where it's not too late until it's too late.
Yeah.
And, there's a point, until your mom is like actually gone, like where she's no longer on this earth, you got to pray, you got to seek wisdom. You have to try to be discerning about like how can you maybe repair or reconcile something like a difficult relationship, a broken, strained relationship that maybe you have with your mom. So
the third one here is the inability to conceive children. And I had a friend in college, Kara, who Brian and Kara, who couldn't have a child, and it was really, really hard for her every Mother's Day because they tried everything. They prayed about it. So Mother's Day was just a reminder that she could never have children. And even though, if you know Kara, she's incredible. You know what I mean? Like she's got the most love in her heart. It's absolutely incredible. But she felt that way, and eventually God blessed her with a child. They have one daughter, I believe it is. But the reality of that is a good, solid, godly, strong woman of God would not want to go to church on those days because it would hurt that bad. And I think that people go through that, man. That's their reality. It's a reminder of, so when people are seeing them with their kids, or even like we have big families, like it could be that people could look at that and be bothered by that because they weren't able to have that, and sometimes I try to put myself in people's shoes sometimes with that, and thinking that is a hard thing for people.
Yeah, the difficulty of, things like miscarriage, infertility, like you just spoke of. I mean, it could even be like the loss of a child. Like maybe you had a child and, due to death, like you're no longer a mother to that child. Like that brings up then emotions for the mom on Mother's Day. So yeah, there's a lot with that. And I think that's why, even as the church, the more that we can talk about motherhood, there is obviously a biological part of motherhood, but the more that we can talk about like the spiritual side of motherhood, like the fact that just because you didn't give birth to a child doesn't mean that you can't influence and impact and make a difference in the life of a child. I think that's significant. And when we can be very intentional about that, there's some kind of hope. I think there's some kind of peace and encouragement that can come to women who maybe even in their struggles of, their inability to conceive, they can still, be reminded and feel the connection that they can have, in making a difference spiritually in the life of someone else's child.
So the other one I thought was interesting was this fourth one is just the pressure of being a mother. Like maybe.
What do you think about that? Are you pretty pressured as a mother?
Oh my word! Where did that come from? That was great. But I'm sure ladies feel that way. I'm sure they feel it from like
100%.
their mom. Like, why haven't you had I want a grandbaby? You know what I mean? And they put that on them.
That's a good point.
So I think that there is that pressure that exists, or maybe, I don't know if in culture it's as much as it used to be, but I know back in the day it would be like that was the focus, you know what I mean? Like you need to be a mom.
Yeah.
So there was pushed on that, and I think people felt that way at times. So, but I bet people do feel that way. I bet moms do feel that pressure.
And I think way more, of course, would moms feel the pressure of like trying to even like present this idea of like perfection, maybe amongst your family or your kids, like, there's a weight, I think, of responsibility that they, would definitely probably feel with that. But also just like the weight of like the overwhelming task of trying to protect and care, like the way a mother duck would try to, protect like ducklings. I mean, it's like mothers just feel that in a totally different way, I know, than you or I do.
And they discern things so differently than us as guys. I'm like, and I'm like, wow, I wouldn't even thought of that. But there's such that protection.
And I think the wild thing too is like, it's not something that ends when your kids turn 18 or graduate from high school. Like, I mean, you see mothers like even within the church, I'm thinking of a couple, ladies, I know they're probably into their 60s, 70s. Yeah. Some of these ladies, in the burden that they still carry for like their children, who are 50, maybe 60 themselves, and they have such like a weight of responsibility and a pressure that they have to try to protect them and care for them still. I mean, so it's not like it's like their job ever ends as a mother. In truly, I mean, we need to carry that same kind of, concern ourselves for our children, but women just feel it in a different way. I mean, that, so.
They really do. When we're talking about, you're going to be actually preaching this week on mothers, for Mother's Day, and I'm excited that you're doing. I think as a church, we've always been sensitive to this issue and just like being aware of moms and what they go through, but we have to understand that mom or a mother to many different people. It's not just their kid, they're a mom to many. I talked earlier about Mama Donna and Annie and just different people that have been significant. Grandma DeGraff. You love that, don't you? My goodness. But I thought these were interesting. Like, how are people mothers to others is emotional nurturing and support that they give. Yeah. Like, people do that. Naturally, ladies do that. They just have that ability to know how to support and encourage and uplift somebody. And they don't even realize that they're making an impact in the life of another sometimes because it's just in these ladies that just know how to nurture and care for people.
If making an impact or changing a life only had to do with birth, then you just think about the reality of how many women would miss out on really being able to make a difference in the life of a child. Yeah. The reality is there's a lot of women in this world, in our society today who are giving birth to children, and yet they can't care for them or they can't make the difference, that really needs to be made in that kid's life. And so it's not about just giving birth as much as it is about giving love, giving the love that you have in your heart to a child.
So good, Nate.
I mean, stepping in, being present. There's so many kids, man. We won't even really get into like the whole conversation about like foster care, adoption, things like that. But there's so many kids that are waiting for someone to step into their life that's going to, show them love, compassion. And so it's not about just giving birth as much as it is giving the love that you have in your heart to a child.
But stepping in that a little bit though, even looking in with you guys, like it's impacted. We look in, see the kind of love that you have and the kind of mom that Bethany is to your kids, and we're impacted by it. So praise the Lord for people that are fostering and using that gift of support and encouraging and the nurturing that they've always wanted to give to adopt. It's beautiful.
And that's what I think, if we celebrate like what's at the heart of motherhood, it's the love of a mother. It's the love of it's the love that God has placed in the heart of a woman, the way that they can care in such a different way than a man can for a child. And that's why we don't just celebrate one kind of motherhood. when there's all different kinds of ways that, you can make a difference in the life of a child by giving them and showing them the love that you have in your heart. So
I was thinking, like, that's why it's so significant when moms are like a children's worker or a youth leader, or like even greeting people at the door, or like, I know I'm looking at church related things, but it makes an impact. They just have that ability. You put a lady at a door to love on someone, they come in, it's different than what a guy can do. It's just how it is, you know? So, but the other one that I put down here is, that they're caregiving for family and others. And I found this interesting, but they're caring for aging parents or ill relatives. So there's that nurturing way that they're just doing. That's just, they're caring in that need. And then this one was interesting, but being a parent enrolls in childhood. So there's times that even there's ladies who have that mothering ability that they're actually helping their adult parents that should be parenting them, actually being a mom figure to the brothers and sisters. And you see that. I even watch, like, you have a great family, but I watch even at times looking at Gracie actually care for the kids. Like, she is a mom figure, with Bethany, to actually care for the little kids, you know what I mean, that you guys have. So the significance of that.
And you see that, like, I think a lot of times you see that even, like, if you were just to have like a bird's eye view of a nursery, like you will see little girls like trying to mother, the other kids in the nursery. I mean, that was Gracie. Like,
or even little kids carry a doll because they're already doing it automatically.
And so from a young age, I mean, you see them like already starting to exhibit, especially when they're able to watch a mother figure in their life, the way that they, show compassion and care and, take care of the needs of their children. They quickly start to emulate that.
Well, even looking at, I know I'm picking on Gracie, but like, she's a nurse too. Like, she's caring for people. Yeah. It's in her, like. So another one, it says supporting friends through crisis, life transition, or daily struggles, offering the same guidance and stability associated with marital figures. So it is, man. People will step in. They just know how to care for people. Ladies know how to care for people that are hurting, and they don't even realize that they're doing this. But because of how God has made a lady, sometimes they just know, a woman knows how to care for someone when they're hurting. Where we walk into the situation, I think you and I have great hearts that care for people, but we don't do as good as most ladies do when they handle and know what to say and how to comfort. And I think where I could talk too much, where these ladies would know just to be present. I even think you do better on that than me. But
I do.
you do, dude. But anyway, that's huge. Another one that we put down is fostering growth. So, just this important of like understanding the growth that could actually happen with moms, and understanding, getting excited about it, and getting behind the growth that you could have in that. So, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, you had on here, which I think is really kind of important to recognize, this psychologist, this woman by the name of Liz Hall. She notes in this study that mothering fosters things like empathy, compassion, different traits that being a mother or having that mother's love in your heart, even if you personally were not biologically a mother, that, you can cultivate those things. And then you turn around and you mentor others, you volunteer, you invest in things like deep relationships. And there's something inside of you. This word generativity, I looked it up. And what it is it's a desire that people have to nurture, mentor even younger generations. And typically it really begins to take root in people's lives, they say between the ages of like 48 and 65, where then all of a sudden they want to do everything they can to then give back, or to model that for someone else in the younger generation. It's like a passing off of, like, passing the torch to the next generation that are going to come behind you. And ultimately, those might be the people that are going to care for you one day, just like you were talking about. Like, it could be your children, but it's going to be somebody else's child, if it's not your own, that are going to care for you in a nursing home, in a hospital, in those kinds of situations.
I don't want to take it off this a little bit, but I have seen some ladies that their kids are, grown up and they feel lost sometimes. You know what I mean? And I've watched some ladies in our church kind of take some of these older ladies on that are really struggling. And one of the ladies, moved in with her just to help her.
Yeah.
I've seen another one where it's like this person takes this person out to eat all the time. And I think there's two things going on in that, where on one of the examples, the lady who's spending time with this older woman is needing a mom figure, but that lady also needs a daughter in her life. So there's moments that people like step in with that. And, but yeah, it's huge. And I do think that, if we can understand, and I don't know how to do it, but we have many scriptures about where the older ladies invested in the younger. And what I always think is that the older ladies want to invest in the younger, but they don't think that the younger people want to spend time with them, so therefore they don't make attempts to actually do it, because they're like, and then I think the younger ones actually are like, my mom's not around anymore, I need that. But they're like, well, who do I ask? Instead of getting over the fact to just say, I like this lady and hey, you want to get something to eat sometime? Like just taking the initiative to actually do that, because it's needed, both levels, both ways,
Yeah, good point.
So as we kind of go into this next week, Nate, you're going to be talking about it and talking about ministry. And I was thinking about, I think we do a good job in church of just trying to figure this out, to look at it, because we've seen, I think through the years, where we've maybe done so much of a mother's focus that we've seen the pain of people and had conversations. And, I know through the years we've done poems about like motherhood is a big, huge thing. It's not just the moms that are, we've worked through that. We've even making sure that people get gifts when they leave, because it's not just the moms that gets gift. It's any lady that's invested in the life of another. But so we want to honor mothers, but with a different twist. But we recognize that Mother's Day can be very difficult, having lost a mother, grieving, not being able to have children, or having a strained relationship. So we think through that, and we want to be aware of that. And I know your message is going to try to look into that as well. And then we also want to celebrate all nurturing roles of grandmothers, moms, spiritual mentors, foster mothers, caregivers, as well as with the biological mothers. But so we want to look at it from a wide standpoint, and we want it to actually be a place that if you're not a mom, that you'd feel okay coming to Stoney on a Sunday. You know what I mean? That you'd feel like, wow, that was good. I needed to hear that. And I think that's probably what you're looking at with your message this week, trying to really why don't you share a little bit what you're thinking with that?
Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Well, you knew I would. So
what if I'm not done with my message?
I bet you're not.
And I don't
want
to give too much of it away.
You don't have to give it away, but
no, I think let me say this, and then I'll kind of get into that. I think you're absolutely right. I think one of the things that women, when they come here, that they can actually respect is that we don't try to like hide behind the fact that we understand this is a difficult day. It can be. Like personally, we know that because we've lost our own moms. But then even as men, as best as we can try to empathize, like we recognize that there's a lot of different reasons why. Like if we tried to like sweep those under the rug or pretend like they don't exist, that's, I think, the place where women are going to come here and go, they got no clue. Like, they don't understand like the pain of what this day is actually like. But when we, truly will speak to that, but then also just talk about the important role that they still can play, or that, the ways that God can bring healing in those kinds of situations, even if your mom's gone, how God can still heal and reconcile, like in your own heart and spirit, what maybe can't be done in a conversation if your mom's already gone. But like, I make it a point, any woman that walks out of here on Mother's Day, if I get the opportunity, I wish them a happy Mother's Day. I do. And I've had a lot of women over the years who said, well, you know what? I'm not a mom. I never was able to have my own kids. And I try to, as much as I can, quickly like affirm, like, that doesn't mean that you haven't been a spiritual mom or a mother to someone else. It could be a neighborhood kid. It could be, some somebody else in the church that God brought, across your path into your circle of influence. But I don't want to miss an opportunity, first of all, to honor, somebody that was able to have their own children, but then also to celebrate what God can do in the life of another woman, as they impact the lives of children. But I mean, there's only a few passages, if we're really going to talk about motherhood, that we can really look at, like on a Mother's Day, if we're going to preach a Mother's Day sermon. So, I'm going to take a look at like the spiritual impact that like Timothy had, from his grandmother to his mother, that was passed down. I'll probably take a little bit of a look too, just in the fact that Jesus, even from the cross, like how he then in return cared for his mother.
And wanted to care for her by saying, "Hey, take care of her."
And that's how he did. So, but then, Paul, even in Romans, he talks a little bit, he never specifically talks about his own mom, but talks about the impact of someone else's mom in how she impacted his life. So I might, look into that a little bit as well, which just then again reiterates, if it was only for a mother, like a biological mother, to impact her biological children, I don't think any of us would be who we are today if there weren't other women that had an impact in our lives. Like if the impact of my mom ended back in 1999 and I had no like motherly figures that, cared for me or looked after me or encouraged me or loved me over the last, whatever that would be, 27 years almost, I'd be a totally different person today. But the fact that God has put other women in my life, God has put right in front of me a wife, that I get to see the way that she cares for our children, like the way that blesses me, I'm different because of that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the direction we're going to be looking in this Sunday. But we do encourage all women. I mean, anyone, mothers or not mothers, to come to church this Sunday. We want to celebrate you. Yeah,
I don't want a lady to say, well, I'm not coming this Sunday because of all this stuff that we've talked about, but I hope that they come and will be extremely encouraged and uplifted at the fact of that. And something I want to say too, I think someone might say, well, my mom was horrible, but you don't have to be that way. You know what I mean? Like you might have had this outcome that you had that was horrible that you had to deal with, but you don't have to duplicate that. You can move forward in what, what kind of mom or mother figure you're going to be in someone else's life. So, and I want to just say this again too, that no matter if your mom's 80 years old and she's in a nursing home and maybe her mind is still there, like you have a shot to just like have the conversation. You have an opportunity to dialogue. And then there's other times where your mom has passed and you wish that the relationship was better, but allow Jesus to work in that and don't allow that to let the enemy just keep bringing that up and making it worse and worse, but to truly take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ and understand the enemy and his attack and that he wants to heal those wounds and he wants to work in you. And you might not be able to say to your mom, hey mom, you hurt me, or mom, I need to say that I'm sorry for not loving you. You have to just decide in that moment that, hey, I am going to forgive my mom, though we can't talk. I am going to move forward in this so that the enemy does not have a foothold in me. So I just want to encourage everybody on that as well, that those are some things that you got to do sometimes, and so that you can move forward so that we're not stuck. So
that's right. That's right, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Well, as always,
I think we did okay, Nate. I think so. I mean, it would have been better.
Who are we to judge how we did, though?
It would have been better to have a mom right here. You know what I mean? Like, even I was talking to Rhonda, I was like, when we were talking, I was trying to get her to come in. And she's like, man, it's kind of last minute here, Nate. But like the reality is, there's something about a mom. There's something about what they bring to the table. So we are missing a key element right here. But I think we did okay.
I think we did.
All right.
I hope so, at least. Yeah. Well, as always, we want to invite people, if you don't have a local church that you're connected to, that you are attending, to make sure you come visit Stoney Church. It's been awesome, man. God's been doing some really awesome things here. as we gather together corporately on Sundays and
tell them
through
about
the
the
week in our
17th
ministries.
because we got a big thing coming up.
Why don't you do
The worship celebration? Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Just an opportunity for us to really get excited about God's faithfulness, His goodness, what God has done over the course of this last year.
Yeah.
But really, ultimately, even just over the course of the life of this church, it's been awesome to see God, His provision, His faithfulness. As we've been, obedient. And just trying to stay focused on the
worship
mission.
celebration, just to honor this past year, pretty much.
Both services, 9/11
on the 17th.
Yeah, would love to encourage.
And we just had a women's retreat. They went really, I think about 60 ladies went. It was awesome. And then the men's retreat's coming up, so that's pretty cool. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, good. So share the podcast if you have been encouraged, or if you think there's somebody that might be encouraged by anything that we've said. If we've said anything that would honor the Lord. Make sure you share this podcast, Amazon, YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Something like that.
I didn't put that down on the sheet for you.
Yeah, thanks
You're not mad at me for that, are you?
Thanks for leaving me on the hook there. But Nate, would you close us with prayer?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Dear Jesus, I just pray for every mom figure, everybody who are maybe even like Nate and I right now who we love Mother's Day to honor our wives, but it's hard to think that our moms are gone. And if we think too much about it, both of us will get teary-eyed and just kind of struggle on the day. But we do also remember what incredible moms that we had. And we know that there's many people that don't have those same stories as Nathan and I. And I just pray that you just be with them, God, that you'll encourage them, that you'll lift them up, and that they will really realize, God, that there are other ladies who have stepped in that have been a mother figure that have encouraged them. And sometimes they just have to think about that and realize those people. And maybe even today, they write a note or a text to somebody and just says, hey, thanks for being a mother figure in my life and making a difference. And so God, help ladies and guys to be able to see those mother figures that have stepped in. And sometimes when you do that, you can put a whole list of people that you go, wow, that person stepped in. And during this time, this person was there. So I just pray that we'll be able to see Mother's Day a little bit different. And I pray that you just comfort those who are hurting during this time. And I pray that you'll use Sunday, God. I pray that you'll anoint Pastor Nate's words. And that, God, it will be an incredible service where people will be encouraged and uplifted and think differently. And we thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. We're so glad that you're here.
If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself, but share it with a friend and help grow our podcast community.
We'd love to see you this Sunday at Stoney Church, services at 9 or 11 a.m.
We're dropping the next episode next Wednesday at 12 noon.
Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.
Join us then, and until next time, stay inspired.
And see you soon.